Hey guys, it is Neil and Thomas from niallpoints.com and welcome to the Eurovision 2024 final breakdown. Oh, what a night it was, what a week it's been, but we have a new winner. It is Nemo for Switzerland with the song The Code, but there's a lot that happened, so I think we need to get through that. So obviously we don't need to talk about the performances, because we've already done all of that, unless there was anything in particular that seemed not to go as planned while watching at home, because everything seemed okay here.
Yeah. Everything. Can you hear me all right, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, everything was all right. Everything looked good, actually. I haven't really noticed any mishaps or any problems. There weren't any delays. So I think the only thing was it right before the end, before Austria's performance, there was a tiny little break where Petra came on stage and made a little joke.
Oh.
Which I don't think was planned. I think they probably called her on stage quickly to make it, to crack a joke for a couple of minutes, because I think they were setting up Austria's staging, because they do have sort of like upside down pyramid thing that they have to hang up. We noticed during the show, during the live show, and during the jury show, that it took a bit of a time to hang it up.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't remember what the joke was. I remember cackling because it was kind of funny.
There was so much going on last night that I can't even remember. I will say this, there was a lot of apprehension from a lot of people before going in to the arena, but it was just a normal sort of Eurovision atmosphere for the most part. Sort of community music, all cultures, all sort of combined. There was lots of fun, as you can imagine. Armenia, Croatia, Switzerland, Ireland all got huge round of applauses. Like, there was a standing ovation from the stalls for Switzerland. Everyone was on their feet for Croatia. It was just one of those really, 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 really fun events. So I'm really glad that people were able to have fun despite gestures broadly at everything going on. Yeah. I'm going to have to take this off because it's roasting. But yeah, so who did we have first after as a opening act? It was the Swedish guy opened the show before the flag parade, didn't he? I can't remember his name because they didn't really introduce us to him in the arena properly.
Yeah.
Bjorn's Kuf or something like that. Sorry, apologies.
That was a bit of a random opener, I thought. Like, the other opening acts have been so wild, and that one was I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, it did go down well, and it was a lot of fun. So that's pretty cool. Who else did we have in the final? We had a really weird VT. With Linda Woodruff and a song. What was that like? Because we couldn't really hear what was going on.
It was when she sang "You're Good to Go" or something.
Mm-hmm.
That song.
Yeah.
And then she had her own little postcard as well. Oh no, that was Petra.
Petra had her own postcard.
No, Linda had that song, which I thought it was just funny because I thought, like, this could be an entry. It was well produced, like for a silly little interval act, or like I don't even remember when it was. Was it interval or was it at the start of the show?
It was in between a couple of the acts.
I think so. Yeah, maybe. It was funny because I thought, like, how much time and money did they spend on this just to have like 2 minutes of interval act? It was just it was well produced. It was funny. So I quite like that. But the entire, I have to say, like, in both the semis and in the final, all of these interval acts, all of the jokes, it was all so well written. It's just, and that is just why you love Sweden to host.
Yeah. I think it's a huge example of you don't necessarily need to have the most insane interval acts, the most famous people you can find or whatever. You just need to have it be enjoyable and fun. We didn't have any. There's been a few years recently where we've had these sort of interval acts where it's like the sound of water and the performance of, like what I mean, like a bit performance artist, which is fine and well good when you know what you're getting, but it can be a little bit like what is going on. It's maybe an excuse to go to the bathroom or get another drink. But no, these were all quite compelling and captivating.
Yeah.
At one point we had the avatars from ABBA Voyage.
Yeah.
We couldn't really see what was going on because all the cubes came down and were showing different clips of ABBA.
Oh yeah.
But then we had Conchita, Carola, and Charlotte Pirelli come out to sing over Waterloo as well. That was actually really fun.
I'm gonna take this off because it's just abnormally hot. Like, how do you wear that thing the whole time?
Yeah, you wore it the whole time we recorded last time.
I did, yeah, but it wasn't that warm.
Yeah. No, Carola looked beautiful. Charlotte Pirelli and Conchita were brilliant as well. I actually managed to meet Conchita at the Euro Club last night.
I saw a picture, yeah.
Ah, so good. I'll maybe get into the Euro Club at the end of this because that was wild. I can't even explain how weird it was. We also had Loreen perform. It was her new song Forever with a little bit of tattoo in there. I was hoping it was like a proper like tattoo moment, but we didn't really get that.
It looked kind of, if I'm honest, it looked kind of weird on TV. I don't know. I think Tanya, our friend, posted something in a group chat, and it really was what it reminded me of, which was just like an upside down turtle trying to get back up. That's what it looked like. I was like, what is she doing? It makes no sense at all. I did like the song though. I like her new song.
I've not listened to the studio version. That was all I've heard of it.
Yeah, me neither. But it sounded really good, and she sounded really good. But the staging was just ridiculous. I was like, what is she doing? And then those things, like some people compare them to like jellyfish.
It did sort of feel a bit like that.
Yeah.
I will say with the wind and stuff like that, they did feel kind of cool in the arena. Like getting blown around, it felt quite interesting, but it did sort of block Loreen from view.
Yeah. For me, it just looked like it. I just got reminded of, like, when you go to a car wash. At the end, they have like those sort of like dancing ribbons that sort of dry off your car. That's just what it reminded me of. So I was like, what is this staging? It looked weird on TV. I mean, look, I love Loreen, but that was a choice in my opinion. But other than that, great song.
I have one thing that I am upset about with Loreen.
Oh.
We went to the Loreen pop-up shop yesterday.
Oh, you told me this.
Really cool because you get to see Loreen's winning outfits. So there's the tattoo outfit, there's the Euphoria outfit, and you're just like, that's a bit of history right there. There's merch. They were giving out grapefruit juice, and stuff. Apparently there were psychic readings going on as well. That's very Loreen. However, we got there at 3:00, and it turned out that Loreen was there herself at 1:00. I was like, no. Could have met Loreen, who that would have just, I think I would have maybe died. So maybe it is good that didn't happen.
You would have missed the final.
I would have. I would have. I think that was it for the interval acts, wasn't it? Was there anything else?
I don't remember anymore. It was just such a. I feel like a half of the night was such a blur. I was so nervous the whole time, and I thought to myself when I was watching, I should be really calm and at ease because Belgium's no longer in there. I don't have to worry about how well or how badly we're going to do in this final. And I was still very, very nervous for obvious reasons. especially once Austria finished. I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Just like one or two interval acts, and then we get to the real stuff where it's going to get either really, really tense and horrid, or it's going to go down really well. Like there was two options. So I didn't get to fully like enjoy it as much as I would have wanted to because of that. But
there certainly was some tension in the arena, and that especially built up. I mean, it started off with tension. The stage manager got booed when he said that there would only be 25 acts performing, and then he started arguing with the crowd, being like, I've never seen anything like this in Eurovision, people booing, and I'm like, okay, but
read the room, dude. Like, come on, what did you expect?
This isn't been a normal Eurovision by any stretch of the imagination, and it only got weirder. But yeah, it was just so odd to have the stage manager actually arguing with people in the crowd. Now, I know I'm not a big fan of booing myself, but it felt odd, and I think it made everyone feel even a bit more tense. Yeah, it was very odd. But then, especially when we get to the voting, and when that podium is out there, we're like, oh God. I was ready to have to leave the arena if I had to. Thankfully, thank you, juries.
Yeah. Oh my God.
What amazing results. So many juries giving Switzerland 12 points. Now, obviously, we know it was my favourite song of the year, along with Bambi. But just the list: Albania, Austria, Azerbaijan, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Georgia, Greece, Ireland, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Portugal, San Marino, Spain, Sweden, and Ukraine. I believe it is actually more jury points than the Reen got. And
more 12s, you mean, or
no more jury points in total. Believe it is the second highest jury score of all time.
Nemo got 365. Don't remember. Let me just quickly look that up. You might be right.
I think Loreen was 340.
It is possible.
See, it doesn't trust me.
I'm not saying I don't trust you. I'm saying that we need to get it right before we say something.
Yes, it is the second. It is the second highest jury score ever. Second only to Portugal, Salvador Sobral, who got 382. So really, you're only 17 points away from equaling that record in jury points, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And
you have to think about the fact that when Portugal won, there were a couple more countries competing, so he could have been beaten with his jury points last night had we had like 40 or 41 countries, and maybe Nemo would have passed him.
Yeah, would have just been another two to get there. But absolutely phenomenal. There were boos in the crowd whenever any jury gave Israel any points whatsoever. Yeah. Which did feel a little uncomfortable personally. But that's what it was. But yeah, that was a really great result for Switzerland. I was really, really happy to see how well Bambi did with the jury.
Yeah.
Because this is the one where we were like, we don't see how this is going to do with the jury. We thought this was more of a dead cert on the televote. Yeah. Actually ends up more jury points than televote points.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is absolute insanity, but fantastic result for Ireland. Their first sixth place in God knows how long. Their best semi-final result ever. They came third in the semi-final too.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that they came sixth. They came sixth in the jury vote, and they came sixth in the televote. So, um, maybe the satanic stuff claims were correct. Was there any big surprises in the jury votes for you?
Yeah, several actually. Norway, 12 points from the jury. That seems very weird to me. If you're a music professional, even in this strong field that this year was, if you're a music professional and you watch that performance, there is no excuse for not giving that even a single point. It just does not make sense to me.
And you're not even a massive fan of the song.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even get the song that much, but at least I saw the potential in it. That is just, I mean, look, let's just go over the list of countries that got more jury points than Norway did. Slovenia, Georgia, Austria, of all songs. Look, I love Austria's song. That performance, especially that vocal, was not worthy of getting more jury love than Norway. I mean, obviously they only got 19 points, but still. Spain, Serbia, Lithuania, Cyprus, Latvia, Greece, United Kingdom, Israel, Luxembourg, Germany, Armenia, Sweden, Portugal, Ireland, Ukraine, Italy, Croatia, France, and Switzerland. All of those countries got more points than Norway from the jury. I was like, what the hell have you been watching?
Yeah.
And let me see if there's another one that sort of shocked me there. I don't think so. I did feel like Lithuania's jury score was rather low. It got less points than Cyprus, which I thought was kind of weird.
Got less points than Latvia.
Yeah. It got what?
Less points than Latvia.
Yeah, but Latvia was always going to be more of a jury bait song, though, because it is a ballad that is very, very well sung. So I'm not surprised about that, really. I'm surprised to see that Luxembourg got such a high score from the jury. They got 83. Not that it was a bad performance at all, but I just was kind of surprised about that.
Great news for Germany, though, still escaping the right-hand side of the board. So obviously they got 99 points in the jury vote as well. I think my biggest shock, not that it's a bad song because I can appreciate it, but I wasn't expecting quite as many 12 points to go to Iolanda from Portugal. I do think there was a few moments where people were a little bit surprised in the crowd regarding that. I was happy, but slightly surprised. I will say I was stood next to some French people. So when Slimans was getting really nice, really good points, so he got 12 points from 4 different countries.
Yeah,
they went nuts. I nearly lost my eardrum. Like anytime that France was getting 12 points, you'd have to they were loud, they were happy, and good on them having the opportunity to be so excited.
Yeah.
So Portugal's points came from Croatia, France, United Kingdom. That was it. I was surprised with the United Kingdom points being for Portugal. I wouldn't have thought, for some reason, I just wouldn't have thought that.
It doesn't seem like an obvious jury winner to me. It did seem like a song, especially after having seen it live in the arena, that would do well with the juries. Mm-hmm. We should also mention that at least at the end of the day, it came 7th with the juries. There was a moment in the beginning of the juries voting where I thought, like, is Portugal going to come 2nd? Like, It was even doing better than France at some point. I was like, okay, this is weird. Eventually, they came 7th. I'm not shocked at that result, but I am, like you said, a bit surprised that they got, was it 4 12s or they got a couple of 12s.
They got 3 12s, yeah.
That did sort of surprise me because it's not like there weren't other obvious jury songs to me. You know, you did have Switzerland and France and Italy and Ukraine in there. You know, even Sweden, in my opinion, looked and sounded better, or at least maybe as a song then, maybe not specifically sounding better because of obviously Portugal's vocals were insane. But yeah, for like entire package, I just didn't really get that song much. I don't think you did either. It was sort of one that went over my head the entire season, and I still don't get it.
I don't, but I do need to just say, like, when we say her vocal is insane, I think her vocal has been very underestimated by the fans this season. Like, I was in awe listening to it at the final yesterday. We haven't even mentioned that she does the start of it a cappella as well.
Yeah, she does.
And sounds great. She's got a really strong voice. It's just not the type of song for us.
No.
That's a shame. I do want to point out Ireland got a 12 points from Australia.
Yeah.
Ireland getting 12 points was not necessarily on my bingo card. Ireland at one point was like right behind Nemo during the jury voting, and I was like, what is happening? This is fantastic.
That was insane.
I genuinely thought we were going to get like my top two. Absolutely fantastic there. I guess we need to sort of go on to televoting points.
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah, so clearly there was a winner with 337 points of the televote, Croatia. Do you know what? I was actually surprised that I know he came third, but I was surprised he didn't get quite as many jury points. I thought he would maybe get a tad more. I thought he was maybe going to win it all based on a mix of jury and televote. So I was a little surprised, but absolutely fantastic performance. And you can just see how well it resonated with the people at home. 12 points from Albania, Austria, Azerbaijan, Denmark, Iceland, Ireland, Norway, Serbia, and Slovenia televotes. So that's absolutely great. We do, of course, then in second have Israel. And they got 12 points from numerous countries, including both Belgium and the UK and the rest of the world vote.
See, that was the one that sort of surprised me the most, because I think at some point I said on Twitter, I will not be shocked if Belgium gives 12 points televote to Israel, because there's a very, very big Jewish diaspora in Belgium, as I think there are in many Western European countries. So I wasn't shocked about that. I kind of knew that was coming. However, the rest of the world vote, that's the one that surprised me. I thought, okay, we're actually talking about, because I think the host said multiple times, over 90 countries watching and voting. That means if you have 37 countries in the competition, that still leaves over 50 countries worldwide that did massively vote for Israel. And that just sort of shows that the support for Israel, wherever it came from, whether it came from Israelis around the world or if it came from just other people who also don't care and just voted for the song, there's huge support for them. And that sort of surprised me, because I think, like, also when Germany gave it 8 jury points and then probably also the 12 from the televote, I can imagine. I don't know if it says that. Yeah. That's no shock. We know that there's a lot of Israelis and Jews living in Germany. I don't think, like, I fully expected a huge televote score for Israel. I fully expected that. I was just happy once we got halfway through the jury vote that Israel was getting a big fat 0 from a lot of countries. And then I thought, okay, it seems very unlikely, even with a massive televote score, that they could still take the trophy. So I was just pleased with that. So by the time that Israel got their televote announced, I was like, okay, whatever it is, 200, 300, I don't care. Even if it would have been 400, they still wouldn't have made it, because they are still in total over 220, like almost 220 points behind Switzerland. So that was, it was already going to be a massive, massive gap to catch up on. So I was quite calm. I just sort of went through it like, okay, I heard 323 points for Israel. I was like, okay. And then you texted me, like, because you couldn't see, probably the view was blocked. you couldn't see the screen, you couldn't see the points. And you texted me like, what is the difference between Switzerland and Israel at this point? And I texted you, it's only 10 points. Like, Nemo just needs 11 televote points and they're beaten. So I was not worried anymore.
That's one of the things when the jury points were being shown, they were up on the screen. So you probably saw on stage that they had a video of one person, and then what country they were, what happened when the screen changed to what you see is that screen came up where those were. So we got to see a lot of the points, but for the televote points, there was nothing on stage for us. It was just the screens around the arena, and they're quite far away when you're in the standing. So you could tell for the most part who was where, but you couldn't tell what the points were. So that's why when Thomas was becoming my reporter for the evening, because I was getting stressed because I just really wanted Nemo to do really well.
What was the vibe like in the arena when those televote points for Israel came in? Because obviously there were audible boos on TV, not during the recaps. I didn't watch Israel's performance. I zapped out. I went to another channel, and I texted you, let me know when it's finished. I heard it in the arena because I had no choice but hear it because I was there, and I thought like I don't need to see this anymore. But there were, with a flag parade as well, there were audible boos, but they were subdued. And then I did see videos surfacing again from people inside the arena where the boos were not subdued at all. They were very, very loud. So I was kind of curious, like, okay, now that the televote points are coming in for them, I can sort of hear boos, but I could also hear a lot of cheers. So I was like, did they use that fake cheer thing again or not?
I don't think so. I think it was one of those situations that we've seen that it's polarizing. There's people who are against Israel may believe that we're in the majority, but we may not be. It is quite polarizing. So yeah, I think there was a steady mix of both cheers and boos. I would say the only boo that was a full boo was for Martin Osterdahl. And it was insane. Just as an example, if you're wondering why Switzerland didn't react to getting 12 points from the Netherlands, we didn't hear it.
No, but you could see on screen, I don't know if you saw that, we could see on screen when the points from the Netherlands came in, they obviously did get 12 points from Netherlands, Switzerland, that is. It looked on TV, because they did pan to Nemo, as they always do when a country gets 12 points. They did pan to Nemo, and you saw that Nemo was talking to whoever was with them in the delegation, and they, because of all the booing for Martin Osterdahl, who was giving the points, you noticed that they didn't realize what was going on. They didn't realize that the points from the Netherlands were actually being handed out. And then there was a very brief moment before the camera went to Petra again, where you did see Nemo going, where they realized, oh, I get 12 from the Netherlands. Because, like you said, it was very... We heard it, of course, on TV, but you couldn't hear it, and I don't think they did as well. I think they probably just saw the screen at some point and saw that, oh, we got 12 points from the Netherlands.
Yeah, I don't think even anyone even realized that points were coming from the Netherlands at that point. But that was probably the main boo of the night. But yeah, for Israel, I think it's polarizing. We have our opinion, others have theirs. So I do think it was a little bit of both. From what I heard, there was Israeli flags all around, as you would imagine, as well. So I don't think I watched semi-final 2 back, and the cheers that I heard on the broadcast sounded very similar to the cheers that I heard on Thursday night. So I don't believe they have done anything.
They did.
Oh, have they?
Oh, they did. Oh, look, when you hear the videos from inside the arena, the difference is huge. You can literally hear people screaming on top of their lungs, boo, 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 in the arena, and you don't hear a single bit of it on TV. There was definitely cheering machine, and I am 100% certain, hearing the cheers after the performances from the other countries and hearing the cheers after Israel's performance, it's a different kind of cheer.
Right.
You can hear that it sounds fake, that it sounds manufactured, that it sounds recorded. It was just because all of those cheers, whether it was a loud cheer or not so much, you can sort of hear the same sort of sound. But the one with Israel was definitely different. There is no way that was all actual cheers from the arena. That's definitely not.
Okay. Well, I'll need to watch it back anyway. But yeah, that was a mix. Now, what got a massive cheer was Ukraine getting their televote points and therefore overtaking Israel. I think there was a sense of relief from those who didn't want Israel to win, that thank God it can't happen. But yeah, you know what? At that point, I was like, okay, cool. Ukraine's a great song. I won't mind if this wins. Like,
that was the moment where the stress sort of like fell off of me as well.
Yeah, I think it would have fallen off anyone. But before we get into the other high scorers, we need to take a look at some of these lower scores as well. United Kingdom 0 is a shock. I've only got to assume there's quite a lot of 12, 13, 14s in there where they've maybe just missed out on points narrowly rather than, being 25, 25, 25.
I think I saw a graphic on Twitter. Do you know that there's this one account on Twitter that does all these graphics where they show where each country ended up in both jury and televote in all the other countries voting? And I didn't look at it fully, but I did see a couple where it really, like, for example, I think the Netherlands was one where the UK came somewhere between 22nd and 25th in both jury and televote, and there were a couple more. The thing with the UK for me is, and I think I said that to you past couple of days, it just didn't work. For me personally, it didn't work. It didn't work on TV. It was very cool to see it in the arena, but on TV it just didn't work. It looked small. It looked busy. It looked messy. I think it was one of those stagings that was too ambitious.
Maybe.
It's one of those things where it takes away from the song, and there's so much going on with all the different camera angles, the upside down camera, appearing as if the box was sort of tilting, and then people falling all around, and the vocals were a bit shaky on TV. They weren't bad. I'm not saying that he did bad vocally, but they were shaky at times. There was so much choreo going on for him that he was very out of breath at some point. And then when you compare that to other really up-tempo and really physically challenging stagings, like, for example, Malta's and Cyprus's and we also do have Georgia, for example, where there was a lot of dancing and the vocals still sounded perfect. It does sort of make you think that, oh, maybe they did a bit too much here. Because my favorite part, and I think some of our friends in the group chat agreed, my favorite part of that staging is when he gets out of that box. And it was just the laser show at the end. That's my favorite part. I think he stayed in that box for too long. It was a cool thing to have for, like, maybe the start of the song or maybe at the end of the song. but to have it for 2.5 minutes of the 3-minute song, it just great in the arena. On TV did not work for me, and I think obviously other people agreed because the song was very good. I really like this song. It's one of my songs that's on repeat. It was. I don't think it was in my top 10 anymore, but very near my top 10, which is great anyway because it's such a strong year. But still, having said all that, 0 is very, very harsh. Like, I don't think anyone expected that. I don't think I expected that. I expected a televote score around 60, 70 points or something, even though it was already obvious from all of these really, really low scores that we were going to get some really massive televote scores, and then the rest would get a lot less.
Yeah.
Sort of what we had last year as well.
Yeah, there's been a lot of points being eaten up for sure.
Yeah.
Because some that I'm shocked. I mean, to get into triple figures, you're looking at 8th place with the televote first of all.
Italy, yeah.
Sorry, 7th.
7th place, yeah.
Yeah, 7th place. Greece 85, still a respectable amount of points, but surprisingly low. Georgia 19. I was shocked. I think again Norway 4 points. I don't know what they could have done differently. I think maybe just people weren't ready for this type of song, maybe, or maybe it just wasn't the right year for this type of song. I don't know.
Maybe it's rather the wrong year. Not so much not ready, because we've had similar songs like this before. I mean, not exactly the same, but like similar vibes of songs that have done really, really well. I don't know what it was, Nori. That to me is a much bigger shock than the UK. I think all the others I'm sort of not really surprised about.
I think the biggest shock, other than the UK and Norway in the arena, was for Austria.
Yeah.
Austria only got 5 points, and it was a fan favourite.
Yeah, I think that is once more the difference between being in the arena and being on TV. It did not sound good on TV. It looked cool, but it did not sound good. And you cannot forget that we had multiple dance breaks this year. We did have Malta, who obviously didn't qualify. We did have Cyprus. We did have Georgia. Even Sweden has somewhat of a dance break. Greece has a bit of a dance break. So Croatia has a bit of a dance break. So there was a lot to vote for. There was a lot of these fun up-tempo things. It just did not sound not sound very good vocally, Austria. But it did really go off in the arena. I mean, I was there for the semifinal. But that didn't really shock me as much. I think for me, the biggest shock was Norway. You could argue that Israel was a big shock, but it wasn't. I expected it. I just hoped that it wouldn't be that high. One that I want to point out that I was kind of positively surprised by was Cyprus, which, considering where it ended up, it's not a massive televote score, 44 points at all, but it came 12th in the televote. That was kind of surprising for me. I would have thought that Georgia would have done better than Cyprus. Maybe there was a bit too much fire for Georgia. Maybe it did look a bit too much like trying. Do you know what I mean? Cyprus was very simplistic, and maybe that is what paid off for them. I don't know. But good on them for getting a decent result. I think they came 15th overall, which I think is more than anyone would have expected for Cyprus this year.
I think also just need to say that Armenia 8th is fantastic as well. I actually got to meet Jackal last night as well, so that was really nice too. But no, just some absolutely nice results here for some countries that maybe don't typically get the recognition they deserve, but Armenia definitely deserved that.
That was my favorite.
Yeah,
Armenia was my favorite song, so I'm really, really pleased that it did so well. I think it came 8th overall as well.
8th overall, it came
9th in the televote, yeah.
ninth in both votes, but 8th overall.
Oh yeah.
But fantastic result for them. But then obviously we came to the final screenshot between Switzerland and Croatia. This was, although I was not caring which, I was happy that one of them was winning, I was still a little bit stressed. Like, there was 183 points needed. And because we'd had really big scores, 3-3-7 for Croatia, 3-3 for Israel, 3-0-7 Ukraine, 2-2-7 for France, I was like, oh, I don't know if there's how many points that are left. I can't do that maths. I know there's people out there, you guys are geniuses, where you know how many points there is and you do the calculations, and by that point you already know who the winner is. I can't work like that. My brain can't compute it. I can hardly do 5 + 5.
I mean, you can you just use a calculator, Neil? You don't have to do it by
not that quickly. But yes,
it's easier when you're at home though, because you can see the points coming up on screen and you can just sort of calculate them. I don't think I would try and do that in the arena either.
Yeah, but I don't think I'd even try and do that at home. But Switzerland, 226 points, taking them to a total of 591 points, which is a huge score to get. So absolutely fantastic result. It's actually the 4th highest result of all time, underneath Bulgaria from 2017, Ukraine from 2022, and Portugal from 2017. So yeah, more points than Sweden. But what we've got to say, here that Croatia is also on this list now. They are above Jamala, just underneath Sweden on the list of top points ever.
Yeah.
So absolutely amazing work from the Croatian delegation, and Baby Lasagna deserves all the praise he gets. I've seen video this afternoon of him on an open-top bus through Zagreb with what could only be described as roarious applause. So, yeah, I think we're looking at one of the most great results for these two countries for such a long time. But the crowd went absolutely nuts when Nemo won. I was nearly in tears.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Absolutely fantastic.
For me it was very double, because I was very happy for Nemo, but I also felt very sad for Croatia. Especially not just for Baby Lasagna, but also for Croatian fans who really, really hoped that it was finally their year. So it was kind of like, oh, poor Croatia.
Yeah,
they were the hot favorite for a long time. In the beginning, I know that Switzerland took over for a while in the odds, but then Croatia went back up. They did win the televote in the end. I'm also really happy that, even though it's very close, someone else than that country won the televote, because I did kind of feel like, even if they don't win, if they win the televote, it's going to be such a shit thing to look back on. At least that didn't happen. But I felt kind of sad at the same time for Baby Lasagna. I think he really, really wanted this, not for himself, but more for the Croatian fans who really expected a lot. They should be very proud, of course. But there are, again, once more, voices raising on the internet about the level of power that the juries have. I think that's a conversation that we're going to be having every year, I think.
Yeah.
I do want to point out, though, that in any other year, I would agree with them. If you have a country getting a massive televote score and then not winning the contest, that does sort of feel double, because it has been a couple of years where it really has been the jury winner that has won the contest, which sort of seems a bit odd sometimes. And I would agree with that in any other year, but this year I'm just really, really happy that they were there, because if they weren't, if the juries had done what we had expected them to do, which was give a huge score to Israel, if they had done that, then we would have had a completely different situation, and we probably would have been facing a very, very problematic situation for the Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy that they were there. I'm happy that they delivered, that they did what they had to do. That even some really, really religious countries have given 12 points to Switzerland is just mind-blowing to me. Even Poland, which is, sorry to say, which has one of the biggest anti-LGBTQIA plus agendas politically in Europe, gave Switzerland 12 points. Like, how amazing is that?
I think hopefully this is turning a tide. I do also think that Nemo was such a fantastic winner in terms of the speech. It took their opportunity to call out what some of the stuff that's been happening, not in a way that is rude or disrespectful, but in a way that is, maybe there are some things that need to be fixed. And I think we can see from the reactions we're seeing from Bambi, from the support from Greece, Portugal, and Switzerland.
Sylvester as well tweeted out last night.
Yeah, I think we're seeing that they've not done right by the artists this year at all. Arguably not for the fans either. But no, it's certainly been a difficult contest. But we've got a fantastic winner in the end. I won some money, which went towards some wine in the Euro Club, I will admit that. But yeah, have you got any other thoughts on this before? Because all I want is the only other thing I can talk about is the Euro Club. I will say that I do love the fact that within seconds Nemo broke the trophy. It's the fact I watched the winner's performance back last night this morning when I got in, and you can just hear the crack. And I'm like, oh my God.
They did get another one in the end, but it didn't have the Sweden flag in the logo like the original one. I don't know if they're going to make him a new one. I don't know. I just thought it was fitting. I was like, you broke the code and you broke the trophy. I think they broke their thumb.
What?
I think they said that they had a short interview with them on stage still, right after the winner's reprise, where they said like, so I broke the code, I broke the trophy, and I even broke my thumb. And they showed their thumb, and it had like a band-aid, like a couple of band-aids around it. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know if they actually meant I broke it, or maybe they just cut it when they broke the trophy. I don't know. But they did say I broke my thumb. It was just fitting, like.
Yeah, I think we have the winner that we maybe needed this year that can hopefully be a beacon of hope for Eurovision fans, that the contest can hopefully still thrive after this. But yeah, do you have any other things you want to talk about?
I'm looking at some of the results. I think maybe Italy is one worth mentioning, where it didn't do as well as I thought it would with the televote. It did still come 7th, but 104 seemed like a low score for televote, seeing as it was tipped as probably the biggest favorite for a, how do you call that? Like when you don't win the jury and the televote, but you still win overall.
A compromise winner?
Yeah, a compromise winner. And then it only got 104 points. I thought that was a huge difference from some of the other fan favorites. But otherwise, I'm just, like I said, I'm just really, really happy with the final result. To me, there's still one big black stain on the result. I'm not gonna hide the fact that I don't like that they got such a massive televote score. I don't think that's right. I think it just shows that at the end of the day, you can fight hate and you can fight racism, but you can never really fully beat it. And I think the EBU needs to really rethink things. Things need to change. People need to quit. I'm not saying it has to be Martin Österdahl. I'm not saying he's responsible for everything. He obviously isn't. There's a whole team behind this. Let's not forget, I said this on Twitter as well, let's not forget that even though we had a bunch of broadcasters speaking out now against Israel's participation, it is still those same broadcasters that allowed Israel to compete in the first place. You know, it's the European Broadcasting Union. This is not Martin Österdahl's decision.
Yeah.
He's not the supervisor, you know, he's not the principal of the EBU. He's a supervisor of the Eurovision Song Contest. That's a different thing. But people definitely there needs to be a shift in whoever is in charge at the EBU. They failed the artists. When you have artists tweeting out right after the contest saying that they wished it would have ended after the semifinal, I think that's very sad.
Yeah,
I think that's a horrible thing. I felt very sorry for Sylvester. We did see Sylvester at the Wee Wee Emporia Rooftop Lounge, and it immediately occurred to me like how emotional and how sensitive he is. He's obviously been through a lot as a kid, and I think it is the EBU's task to make sure that these artists get the full experience, that they get the best experience that they can possibly have, and they didn't do that. They failed them. They failed the fans, I think. The whole is something we haven't talked about in this video, the whole Netherlands being disqualified thing. We now know what happened. Did he have to be fined? Yes. Was it a nice thing to do? No. But should he have been disqualified? No, I don't think so. I think it's very disproportionate. I think they might be facing a withdrawal from the Netherlands. Judging from what Avotros and you know, Cornel Maas have said, it is something that is definitely going to be discussed. Like, do we take a year out? Do we not? This is one of the founding members that you're talking about. You know, a broadcaster that only just hosted one of the best editions and one of the most inclusive editions of the Eurovision Song Contest. You know, we had Nikki Tutorials hosting the Eurovision Song Contest, and then they get treated this way. I don't really think that's right. They handled it horribly wrong. It's disgusting.
The speculation happened too much as well, didn't they?
Yeah. And it could have all been avoided had one very important decision been made months ago. They could have avoided it had they not had double standards. Billy's getting annoyed at Billy is the Joost Klein fan.
It was nice to see that Joost Klein was at the party last night. He was spending a lot of time with fans. He seemed to be in good spirits. He seemed very nice. There was lots going on there, but I do like the fact that despite all the crap he went through, whether or not it was right or wrong, I've still got some questions over based on how quickly everything happened. But it was whether it was right or wrong, it was handled badly. No matter what way you look at it. So going through all of that, I think he still got a good character to stay around and not just go straight back home and try and make the most of.
I don't even know if he's allowed to go back home already.
According to the Swedish police, we've heard he is allowed to leave. But yes, Euroclub. Now they said this was. I thought this was going to be like a small, like unofficial party. This seemed to be like an official party. Everyone was there. Electric Fields were there. Finland were there. Armenia were there. Lithuania was there. Hera Bjork was there. Apparently, I didn't get to see her. Conchita. You're just meeting. Just all these people are just there. I've got to say it was slightly overwhelming, but I was able to have a good time. So if you do go to a Eurovision in future, go to the after party for Euroclub if you're an OGA member, because it is a lot of fun. And I was out till dancing until just before 5 o'clock this morning. So I would recommend that. If you just got FOMO, you're being quiet.
No, I'm just reflecting on the whole thing.
Yeah, it's been a tough one. I think one of the main things we need to remember is this isn't just because Israel didn't win doesn't mean that there's a victory. There's still horrible situation going on in the Middle East, and people of Palestine still need our support. If you can donate to causes. We also have been donating to medical aid for Palestinians. There are other great charities out there, but the fight for freedom isn't over just because they didn't win a song contest. And I think a lot of people are going to probably need to take a bit of time away from the contest after this week. And the last few months, it's been incredibly hard. And I know you've found it hard as well, Tomas, at times. So, everyone just needs to look out for themselves, I think, do what's best for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all very double. It's like the result is good now, but at the end of the day, we came very close.
Yeah.
To a very, very different situation.
And I guess we can leave it there for today. We can see where this Eurovision journey takes us on to Switzerland next year. Just thank you to everyone who we've met, I say, during the last couple of months and weeks and days. It's been absolutely lovely to meet every single one of you. Everyone has been full of joy and love, and that's just been really heartwarming.
That is something that really, really resonates, is that the fans have really come together in the past couple of days through everything that's been going on, both in Malmö but also online. I feel like we've all sort of found common ground and sort of found, like, rediscovered love that you have for each other, even though most of us don't know each other, but you sort of love the same thing and you really want the best possible outcome for this contest. And I think that really shone through in especially in Malmö when you were there. Everybody, like you said, was just happy. Everybody was talking to each other. You're all complete strangers. A lot of people were there on their own, but at the same time, nobody was there alone. Everybody just talked to each other. With the meeting with meeting the contestants who have all been so lovely and have really been taking the time to take pictures with the fans, to sign autographs, to have a little chat. That's really, really lovely to see. And I think that's probably along with the great result of last night, that's what we should be taking away, and just hope that for next years to come that we can see that repeating itself.
Yeah, and hopefully see some of that positive change that we believe is needed. We will do our best to keep up to date with the new Eurovision season, because that will start in due course. But now we're in the post-Eurovision depression era. Or I saw someone tweet, there is no post-Eurovision depression this year, there's post-Eurovision relief.
Yeah.
But thank you for watching and joining us on this journey. You can keep following at niallpoints blog on Twitter and Instagram, and niallpoints.com. You can follow me at niallpoints on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can follow me at by.lombardi on Twitter and Instagram.
And we'll see you next time. And congratulations to Switzerland.
I don't have a Swiss flag with me right now, but I have mine.
See you.
Bring out.
See you later, everyone. Have a good one.
Bye.